spoke about discipleship and focusing on our call to disciple others. And I talked about two different verses here to help us focus in on that particular area. Matthew 28, 16 through 20, which is the Great Commission. And it reads, then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him. But some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority, how much authority? All authority. In heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go. The implication is, who else has that authority?
We do.
We do. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. And in Galatians 4:19, reflects the heart of one who disciples another. Oh, my dear children, I feel as if I'm going through labor pains for you again. And they will continue until Christ is fully developed in your lives. The heart of one who disciples others is to see Jesus formed in another person's life. It's about who we become. And I gave this definition or description of discipleship. There's a lot of them out there. I'm not saying it's the be-all, end-all. It's the one that I'm working with now. I kind of like it, and so I'm working from this. Discipleship is a relational dynamic. It's about relationship. It's a relational dynamic in which someone or a group of people who is or are secure in their identity as a son or daughter of God mentors and equips another person or persons into an intimate, transformative, and empowering relationship with Jesus to become more like him in identity, character, power, and authority.
That's good.
There's something on that word power, by the way. I've been speaking about power lately.
Come on.
And I just have this sense of that we're going to be moving in a degree of power that we've not yet really experienced or moved in consistently.
Yeah.
Something is coming that is empowering us in a way that's really going to bring the transformation that we've been praying about, our heart has been leaning into and saying, this needs to happen, this needs to occur.
Preach.
And I believe it's wrapped up in love.
Amen.
Amen.
Power without love is what?
Yeah.
Blunt force trauma.
Truth. Amen.
So I think it's no accident that our number one value that we arrived at by far, point-wise, by the way, was love.
Yeah.
We have a congregation, we've been leaning into that, and God said, I want you to lean into it more. You know another reason why? Lawlessness is connected to lovelessness.
Yes.
Is there any kind of lawlessness happening in our nation right now? You think so? You think? Maybe we need a little more love. Turn on our love. Love just isn't compassion, folks.
Right.
It's a lot more than that. That's a whole other message.
Yeah.
So I focused on three aspects of discipleship: teaching, apprenticeship, and access, and how Jesus spent most of his time giving access to his 12 disciples. If you put that first slide up just to remind you graphically what that looks like. You got that? It's coming.
Yeah. Ta-da!
There it is. Jesus spent most of his time giving the disciples access, spending time with them. And secondly, he spent his time in apprenticeship, that is empowering them to do things, equipping them to be able to do things that he does. And lastly, he spent his time in teaching the crowds and the group. However, we kind of flipped that in the church. What in our first world nations, anyways, teaching is what's prevalent. Then we focus on apprenticeship, and then on access.
It's not real stable.
I wonder if God wants us to kind of go the other direction. Flip that back the other way.
Yes.
The last thing I emphasized was the priority that Jesus placed on discipleship. You know, Jesus played the long game.
Yes, he did.
He played the long game. He knew that mentoring and equipping his 12 disciples was the means to reaching the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
He knew the Father's plan. He had the blueprints. He knew what God wanted to do. And he knew that those 12 men were going to be the key. And that once they were filled and empowered by the Holy Spirit, they would disciple others, who would in turn disciple others, who would in turn disciple others, until the gospel of salvation and the gospel of kingdom has reached the entire globe.
Amen.
Sometimes I wonder why we think another plan is better.
Right.
So today I want to look at the aspect of sonship. I'm sure that the last time I kind of felt like there was, not sure what that means. Some of us are maybe not sure what that means. So in my previous message, I said that discipleship is born out of sonship, that it flows into mentoring and equipping, that the Great Commandment precedes the Great Commission.
Amen.
Matthew 22:35-40 speaks about the Great Commandment. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question: Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So the Great Commandment precedes the Great Commission. But what is sonship? Sonship has to do with our relational identity. Our relational identity. Sonship is knowing through experience and encounter. Not knowing up here, not in the head. We can know that all day long, but it's got to make a difference in our lives. We know sonship through a relational encounter with God, through revelation that we are a much loved son or daughter of the King.
Yes.
Much loved.
Yes.
Sonship is based on who we are, not on our performance.
Yes.
It's not what we do, it's who we are.
Preach.
We are loved because we are his kids. We are his children, not because of what we do. Before Jesus had done any of the good works associated with his ministry, before he did any of those good works, before he started into his mission, before he began discipling others, he was affirmed as a much-loved son.
Mm-hmm.
Mark 1:9-11. At that time, Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan. Just as Jesus was coming up out of the water, he saw heaven being torn open and the Spirit descending on him like a dove. And a voice came from heaven, "You are my Son, whom I love. With you I am well pleased." How much of Jesus' ministry occurred before that?
Right?
Zero. Zero. We're told that in his life he grew in favor with God and men. That's what was happening during that time. We kind of get caught up, with needs sometimes. We get caught up with, there's ministry, there's a need, I got to do this and whatever, I often ask the question of people, what did Jesus do the first 30 years of his life? The Father's will. He was waiting.
Yeah.
Even the first miracle that he did, turning the water into wine, where he tells Mom,
Not my time.
it's not my time.
That's right.
He knew the Father's time, and he was willing to wait until it was the Father's time. The opposite of sonship is the orphan heart. Orphans include the wounded and those who don't want anything to do with God. They are the religious, the Pharisees, if you will, the prodigals, the agnostics, the atheists. They're each one of us before we came to Christ. They're each one of us after we come to know Him, so we have that encounter and revelation that we are His much loved sons and daughters.
Amen.
Come on.
That he loves us apart from what we do.
Preach. Come
He
on.
loves us apart from our performance. Our woundedness and pride keep us locked away.
Yeah, they do.
We believe we have done something wrong, that we are wrong, that I don't deserve His love, that somehow I need to earn it, somehow if I behave a little bit better, he might speak to you. He might draw close. We believe his love is dependent on our performance, on what we do, and not on who we are. Jack Frost, in his book, some of you read this one, From Spiritual Slavery to Spiritual Sonship, contrasts the orphan heart and the heart of a son. He contrasts the heart of one who doesn't know that God loves him to one who does. Let me share a few of those with you. The heart of the orphan sees God as master, and they feel like a servant or a slave. While the heart of a son, and I'm going to use son generically here, so son or daughter. All right? So when I say son, I'm going to use that generically. The heart of a son sees God as a loving father, and they feel like a son or a daughter. Romans 8:15 speaks to this. The spirit you received does not make you slaves, so that you live in fear again. Rather, the spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship, and by him we cry, Abba, Father. The orphan heart experiences God's presence as conditional and distant. God will come close if I do this, if I don't do that. And God is distant. He's not somebody who's close. The heart of a son experiences his presence as close and intimate. Independent and self-reliant characterize the orphan heart, while interdependence and acknowledging need characterizes the heart of the son. The self-image of the orphan heart is one of self-rejection that arises out of comparing themselves to others. The self-image of the son is positive and affirmed because they know that God values them highly.
Amen.
Do you know that? God values you highly,
Yes, he does.
regardless of where you are. I've heard testimonies of men watching pornography, and God comes up and wraps his arm around them and says, I love you. Why? Where they're watching some of the most difficult things to watch. Why is that? Because God loves us apart from our sin.
Come on, amen.
The orphan heart has difficulty receiving admonition. They must be right. So they easily get their feelings hurt and they close their spirit to discipline. The heart of the son sees the receiving of admonition as a blessing and need in their life, so that faults and weaknesses are exposed and put to death.
Amen.
Amen.
I was walking out in the woods a couple months ago. I'm walking out in the woods. It's one of those days, most of you know, from time to time I'll struggle with depression. And I was having one of those days where I was struggling with it. I'm walking in the woods and the Lord just speaks to me and he says, I cannot admonish you when you're wrapped up in your emotions. I go, okay. A little too self-focused. You think? The heart of an orphan sees authority as a source of pain, something to distrust.
Yep.
And the orphan heart lacks the heart attitude of submission. There for a long time in church circles, talking abroad of church circles, you couldn't use the word authority, you couldn't use the word submission.
That's right.
I ain't submitting. Because authority had been exercised a lot of times in the wrong way.
That's right.
But also that submission part wasn't there either.
Right.
The heart of a son is respectful and honoring of authority, seeing them as ministers of God for good in their lives. The orphan heart is driven by spiritual ambition. Now that's an oxymoron, isn't it? How can you be spiritual ambition? Fighting for what they can get. While the heart of a son is motivated by love, freely receiving their inheritance as a much-loved son of God. The orphan heart is insecure and lacks peace.
That's right.
Their lives are characterized by bondage. The heart of the Son abides in rest and peace. Their lives are full of liberty. The orphan heart lives by love of the law, while the heart of the Son lives by the law of love. That's a good one to flip around here. Chris and I were talking earlier this week, and he brought up a story that I had read, and I had actually identified to reading here, so it was just confirmation, Chris, to use this story here. So I'm going to use it. This may sound a little trite, but I think it really does illustrate something if you connect with it in terms of what he's trying to get here about being a son or a daughter. This is from Jack Frost's book, Experiencing Father's Embrace. There's another book that followed up the one I just mentioned. Several years ago, the movie Hook was released, which told about Peter Pan's life after he grew up. He gradually lost his childlikeness and innocence until he finally reached a point when he forgot he was Peter Pan altogether. When the evil Captain Hook returned, kidnapped his son and daughter, and whisked them off to Never Land, Tinkerbell had come to Peter Pan's assistance to help him remember who he was. In order to be able to fly and consequently rescue his family from the clutches of Captain Hook, Peter Pan had to remember his happy thought. When my daughter Sarah celebrated her 16th birthday, I happened to be out of town, and while I regretted missing the occasion, in a way it was fortunate for me. Sarah had never before been behind the wheel of a car, but she was about to experience that great rite of passage that all adolescents look forward to with great anticipation, the acquisition of her learner's permit. And due to my absence, the responsibility for Sarah's first driving lesson fell to my wife. As can be found in many small towns, there is one street in our neighborhood that is notoriously dangerous. It has a sharp hairpin curve with a swampy ditch that drops off on both sides of the road. To make matters worse, it is only a short distance from the local high school. During this time, when students were dismissed each day, the teenagers would go flying down the street, taking the curve at 50 or 60 miles an hour. Yeah, and this happens regularly. We have people getting their learner's permits. There's a reason why insurance is higher for them. Of course, this was the location my daughter chose for her first driving lesson. And sure enough, just as she was approaching that hairpin turn, another teenage driver came barreling down the road straight toward her. My wife began to coach her, quote unquote, Sarah rather vigorously about what to do in this situation. Can't you see what's about to happen? Watch out for that ditch. Sarah responded, would you be quiet so I can think my happy thought? Even though my daughter barely had 10 minutes behind the wheel, she miraculously was able to avoid the ditches on both sides of the road and negotiate the car around the curve and into the church parking lot around the corner. Mother says this, that's it. This driving lesson is over. We'll just have to wait until your father gets home. Anybody ever said that? My mother used to say that. And then she asked, by the way, Sarah, what was your happy thought? Sarah replied, Daddy.
Aww.
Daddy would not be upset with me. When you find yourself in a dangerous situation and fear or shame grips your heart, what are the thoughts that bring you the most comfort and peace? When you experience the fear of failure or the fear of rejection, are your happy thoughts of your Heavenly Father? Your Daddy who is not upset with you and who will cover you with His love? Or perhaps when you fall, your immediate thought is, oh, what a holy God He is and what a wretched person I am. Not only does God want to be our happy thought in those times of distress, fear, and failure, but He also wants us to understand that we are His happy thought as well. Jeremiah 29:11 states this very clearly. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil.
Come on.
How many of us fall into that mode of, something happens, God's going to get mad, condemnation. The foundation for intimacy with God is the realization that we are His happy thought and that nothing we will ever say or do can change His mind about us.
Come on.
There is nothing you can do to cause God to love you any more than he does right now.
Come on.
There is nothing you can do to cause God to love you any less than he does right now.
Amen.
Even that sin that dogs you right now. Unconditional love is never based upon the merit of the one receiving it.
Go on.
It's based upon the loving nature of the one giving it.
Come
That's right.
on.
That's right. Thank you, Lord.
So how is sonship related to discipleship? Sonship is the very core of our relational identity.
Yes.
My wife and I taught a class a couple of years ago, Hearing God and Identity. And one of the things that we focused on there is, what are some things that God's speaking about identity-wise? You really can't live into your identity until you know your core.
Yeah.
That was one of my challenges to the group, is that identify some things about your core, about being a much-loved son or daughter. For a lot of people, that was a little more difficult. I made it a requirement that when we did the list of identity, that would be up at the top. I put mine in bold, black and white. Now, some people never really got that the way they needed to. But that's okay. We're working towards something. Everything flows from the core of our identity. Everything flows from it. When we disciple from a place of sonship, we reproduce sons. When we disciple others from an orphan heart, we reproduce orphans. Like begets like. It's a principle of the kingdom.
That's right.
Listen to Genesis 1, 24 through 25. And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds. The livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind, and it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Like begets like. Evolution is a lie. That's not how he created things. Orphans who disciple others beget those who are wounded, religious, and the prodigals. Jesus called the Pharisees in Matthew 23 hypocrites and blind guides. And he said this about their discipling in verse 15 in chapter 23. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over the land and sea to win a single convert. And when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much child of hell as you are.
Oh, gosh.
How would you like Jesus to say that to you? Like begets like. Identity is who we are. Who we are has an enormous impact in our mentoring and equipment. Thus, security in our relationship as a much-loved son or daughter must precede discipling others.
Amen.
Just as it did for Jesus.
That's right.
Amen.
He didn't enter his ministry until he was affirmed as a much-loved son. In all those 30 years, he was growing in favor with God and men. We cannot disciple from an orphan heart. It is essential that we know, through the revelation and encounters that he brings in his life, that we are a much-loved son or daughter of the King. Now, it's an ongoing process. But there are times when God comes in and does something really sovereign in our lives. To break through those things that we have been unable to break through on our own, and to reveal to us that we are that beloved child. So will you let him heal your orphan heart? That's the question.
Come
Will
on.
you let him in?
Come on.
Will you let him in? Because he's always ready. He says, I stand at the door and what?
Knock.
Where's the problem? Problem's on our end, right? The problem's on our end. Sometimes we just kind of need revelation of the truth so we know what to lean into. You know? So hopefully, if you're hearing some things today, you can lean into that. Lord, I have some fear in my life. I have some anxiety in my life. I am in bondage. Sometimes we just have to admit the truth. I'm in bondage. Lord, I need a revelation in your heart. I need you to speak like you did to Jim in the woods that day. And I can't admonish you, speak a little truth to my heart so that I know I've got something I can let go of. I have something I need to just exchange. Everything in the kingdom is about exchange.
Yep.
I want to exchange this for that. Don't send that over from heart. Let's make that part of the Son of God. At this point, I'm going to ask that the video be turned off, and thank you for the Facebook audience for joining.